Now let's take a look at creating a group policy object. I'm going to go ahead and click on Start, go to Administrative Tools, and choose Group Policy Management. And let me point out that the first step in creating a group policy object is not to open the Group Policy Management tool. The first step is to sit down and think through and plan your group policy implementation. Because the last thing you want is 50 people having 50 good ideas and just creating this plethora of group policy objects out here, and so you end up with 100 group policy objects and they're applied all over the place, and it's slowing down processing for logons and startups. People are confused. Some people can do things, some people can't, and that's inevitably going to create a security problem for you, and it's not going to help you any. So think this stuff through. Now, in the video that was entitled Group Policy Management Editor, I showed you real briefly how to create a group policy object. And the way I did it there's a couple of ways to do it. If I right-click on an organizational unit or any kind of container that I like, for example, on the domain, if I want to create one at the domain level, I can right-click on the domain and say Create a GPO in this domain and link it here, and I can give it the name. One thing, I want to name these things something that means something to me. Something that when I can come back and look at it, I can tell where they're linked to and what they're supposed to be doing. Notice that if I right-click on any of my objects, there's the domain, there's the OU, and then if I had a new site out here, I can turn these on. I can tell it to show my default first site name, and then I can link an existing GPO to that. Very easy to set these up. Now I can also come down here to Group Policy Objects and right click and just do a new GPO, and I'll just call this one Mark. Now there are starter GPOs that you can set up, and if you'll notice they have starter GPOs, and I can import these things, I can build them out of security templates and so forth, and it gives me a good baseline to start with. However you'd like to do that, you can go out and kind of look at that, but I don't want to go too deep in that because we're really concentrating on test prep here. So anyway, you're going to create this GPO, and notice at that point I simply created it. And if I go look at it, it's not linked anywhere. So this is telling me the following sites, domains, and OUs are linked here. No, they're not linked there. And so at this point now I can right click on it and then go set things up the way I want them. We'll play with that in a different video, but for now I just wanted you to see the couple of ways that you can create these group policy objects. But you can tell if I name one Mark, what is it doing? You know, beats me, right? Who knows? This one says hide run bar. Really probably what you want to do is name these desktop basics or domain desktop basics or West OU desktop or whatever. But name them something that describes what they do, because you're going to have quite a few of these and you want to somehow be able to remember what's going on with these things. You should also document these things, and you should write a pretty good bit about these things and put them in your network documentation so that you know which OUs were created for what purpose, what they're doing, how they're applied, and if you can draw a diagram of how you intend all this to work. One thing I will tell you, and I'll say it over and over and over, with these group policies, test them, test them, test them. Make sure they're doing what you want them to do, okay? But for now, we're just creating, and we just created a group policy object. And in a different video, we will talk about editing and linking that group policy object.